Hey guys, it's Bree. I hope you're having a fantastic reading week. Today we're going to talk about The Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. You are probably familiar with this book. It is up for the BookTube SFF Awards. This is the second in a series. The first book is Six of Crows and was up for the BookTube SFF Awards last year. Leigh Bardugo has written this in her Grisha universe, which is a different trilogy, I believe, but this is something you can read independently of that. I think it has enough general world building that if you read the first one, you're not going to feel terribly lost. At least I didn't feel like I missed out on much. And this is fun. The story revolves around a team of basically teenage crooks. They live in Ketterdam, which is a run-down, crime-ridden city on an island. They are part of a gang that has just had like a major heist event happen and are now kind of at odds with a number of different governments. Their leader, Kaz Brecker, is being the kind of musical and Oliver nerd that I was as a kid. It reminds me a little bit of like a Fagin meets Bill Sikes. He's charming and clearly very conniving, but also has a kind of a cruel streak. There's like no pretense over that. Kaz Brecker is not a nice man. His gang of kind of misfit toys are all other children who have grown up or been brought to Ketterdam who are also kind of just lost their way. Ones who have found their way by one means or another into this criminal organization. And it's interesting because there are a lot of different backgrounds and stories that Bardugo tells, and some of them are done actually quite well. This is also a story about international politics, basically. The country in which they live is now at odds with a number of others who are at odds with each other. It's very like intrigue. Everyone knows everyone else as far as all of the countries are like trying to get each other and best one another. Some of them have very like personal beliefs. In the world, there are magic users called Grisha who have varying abilities. Some can do things like control people's bodies so they can like lower your heart rate and calm you down. There are ones who have power to change inanimate materials, ones who have different like elemental kind of powers, and they're all called Grisha. The underlying current of the story is that there are a number of countries who believe the Grisha are basically demonic, that they are unnatural. And there is an underlying drug now that's being rumored to be about called Parem, that basically it's like instant meth. It gives you a lot of energy and a lot of power, but kills you really fast and is super addictive. And it's specifically targeting Grisha, which is all talked about in the first book. In this one, now that they've come back, Kaz Brecker and his team are kind of left in this corner where they have to kind of take on the idea of Parem and the underlying structures that have made it possible. It's interesting insofar as it is very clearly fallout from their heist. They come back and nothing is the same because the powers that be, including like super wealthy merchants and a number of international diplomats, all want what they've got. They came back with knowledge and it's very clear that other people want it. There are all sorts of emotional undercurrents. There are a lot of relationship things that go on. One of the interesting things that I liked about this is that in the relationships, aside from the fact that one or two of them in the first book was very insta-lovey to me, there is a lot more depth and build in this, and I think that Bardugo in the second book has taken a lot of time to build the characters' relationships with one another and give them a little bit more nuance. On top of that, and I always feel like weird pointing this out, I know I shouldn't, I should just always just do it, but there is a gay relationship, a canon gay relationship, and I think the part that I really liked about that is that Bardugo treats it no differently than any other relationship in the way that she approaches it. Bardugo, like acknowledges it clearly while not making a big to-do about it, which I liked. It just felt very normal for their universe. All of the characters kind of have their own vices, their own fears, their own things about which they are either insecure or have been traumatized. I know Bardugo has really been building that in this particular book. They're built up in the first one, but she's trying to follow through in this. Some moments it's really good, some it feels a little bit repetitive, like she has kind of run over the same track a couple times. It's like, I get it, this character is struggling with X, Y, and Z, now show me that actual struggle instead of telling me that it exists. The plot itself is a lot of fun. It's just always a lot of fun. The first one was just fun. The second one is equally as enjoyable. They're criminals. They're like teenage criminals taking on the man. It feels a little Lies of Locke Lamora, but like without the overwhelming arrogance of Locke and with much more seated and foreshadowed stuff that's going on. And at the same time, while it's still foreshadowed really well, and you know that she's building it up as something bad is going to happen and then they're going to get out of it last minute. It still takes me by surprise sometimes how they actually would get out of that task. And I'd look at it and I'd see the solution that she built for them and be like, oh, she was building this solution in 100 pages ago. And I liked that. I find that really impressive. And also really enjoyable. Again, just very enjoyable as a book. If you have read The Crooked Kingdom, let me know what you think of it. Let me know if you were voting in the BookTube SFF Awards and where you're standing on this particular category, which is YA. I hope you are having a fantastic reading week. You know the drill. Comment, like, and subscribe. I'll talk to you later. Bye.